All right. We are back with another episode of Master Your Mind, Make Money Online. It's Web Asset Group. I'm Robbie Cornelius, and we got Richard down in the corner right there. Say hello, Richard.
Hello, everyone.
All right. This episode is brought to you by Go Brunch, number one platform for creators that want to create an online community. Today, I'm super pumped. Okay, my wings. If I was an eagle, my wings would be wide open because I feel like Eric is like a brother that I never met because I've
I
been
love that.
consuming your content for such a long time, and it's powerful. It's simply powerful. Is the words I would use to describe your content. So, Eric, thank you for being here. Welcome to Web Asset Group.
Yeah, man, this is a good time. I love connecting with new people that I've been following online for a bit. And, my journey is a little bit odd with social media right now because I actually killed like some counts at over 500,000 views, followers in the last couple of months just to stay focused and whatnot. So I'm super happy to hear that my content was good and digestible and helpful. And I just, maybe I'll put some stuff back online one day. But I'm working on a project right now, so I just kind of chilled out on posting content for a bit. But that's cool, man. I just feel the same about you guys. So yeah, let's chat about I'm so anxious to hear what you guys do and talk about and what your followers and listeners like really gravitate towards. So let's kill it here.
Yeah, so I'm all about mastering the mind and just showing individuals how to live their version of a successful life. And I noticed that your accounts were gone, so you consciously took those accounts down.
Yeah, I'm a guy that kind of believes in there's life cycles of things, and that you should honor the cycles of life and your personal journeys and not force things. And I think that there's flows to what you think about, and what you think about obviously dictates your behaviors, and your behaviors dictate your actions. And so I like to make sure that what I'm thinking about is driving me towards the right direction, because you can't get out of your own head. You can't get out of your own way. So I just like to make sure that everything I'm doing is kind of in congruence, and the things that I'm working on are the same things I'm thinking about. And when you're thinking about social media or what you want to post on content, but you're trying to work on something else, it causes friction. And I don't think friction is a good thing for anybody. So yeah, maybe I'll put them back up, in a few months or something, maybe. I don't know. But I just was kind of recognizing the life cycle, and I was ready to focus more on my team here and my people in front of my face, and be where my feet are, be where my hands are, and focus on that for a bit. So that's why.
I love that. I go through those cycles as well where I'll completely disconnect from social. In fact, I'm going through one of those cycles right now. Although I still have content posting, I deleted both TikTok and Instagram completely off of my phones. And that was inspired by, I don't get on social media that much anyway, but a few days ago, getting out of the shower, I come out, I'm looking at something on TikTok, and all of a sudden 2 hours went by.
Yeah, man, that's it.
And I'm like, no, not me. I cannot be a consumer of
That's
that
it.
much content. And so right then and there, I just deleted the apps off of my phone. So,
Good for you.
Eric, if you don't mind, man, tell people who you are in this present moment and just a little bit about where you come from.
Sure. My current project I'm working on is called Whoosy, and we're building AI-powered workflows and human staff teams to help the real estate community, the real estate professionals, gain some market share and mind share in an economy and in an industry that's having some challenges right now. So I had 20 years in that space. I used to own brokerages, both mortgage side and residential and commercial, real estate side, home building, land development, the whole thing, property management, the whole thing, and sold all that in 2018, 2019. Did some other passion projects, made a documentary and opened a restaurant and did a few things. I just want to explore some skills that I had and see where else they could apply, and challenge myself to see, all right, what else, all these things that you learn, how else can you serve, or how else can you grow and learn, and what else can you explore, that you would be good at. And so I took that time. And then when I saw an opportunity with some technology that was coming online with AI. I just doubled down and decided to kind of dedicate my entire life to seeing how big I could grow one company. And so that's where I'm at now. My background, man, is I've invested in startups, consulted in startups, all sorts of business. My combined businesses did over about $4 billion in sales for, a few different industries. And I just love working with people. I love, I'm sure you know Tony Robbins, right, Robbie?
I
You know
love
Tony
Tony
Robbins?
Robbins. Yes.
Okay, so one time I was at he's got this place in Fiji, right, where he has these events, and you go, and it was like me and 40 guys and Tony and his team, and we're working on business. And Tony sat me down and he's like, Eric, you're actually not an entrepreneur. You're a creative guy that expresses your creativity through business. And I was like, thank God, like somebody gave me that insight. They didn't have to have this burden of this entrepreneur mind, right? But I was expressing my creativity through business. And it just, that little conversation I had with Tony just freed me up, to realize that, oh yeah, let's make beautiful art, but it just looks like a business, And that's where I went, man. It was so cool. It was such a great, and that was
I love
probably
that.
13 years ago. Yeah. When he gave me that insight, it was really cool.
Dang. So how did that, you said it freed you up. How did that free you up? And then what did it feel like to be free after that freed you up?
When we think about ourselves and we give ourselves these little labels, whether it's I'm an athlete or whether I'm smart as a kid, or whether, I'm always happy. People always see me as happy, or I'm the entrepreneur, or like you start labeling yourself as you think that other people see you. And those weigh you down over time. Those little costumes, start wearing you down over time because they're not you. They're what you think you need to be for everybody around you. And so that weight of an entrepreneur was awesome, but it was like, oh, I need to be an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And no, man, I'm not, and that, so just really getting aligned with my true identity, vibrationally, when you're aligned, there's nothing more powerful. Right. And so you just become this machine, this attractive magnet for everything that you need. And people see you how they need to see you because you are who you are. And the resources become available. So it was just a completely freeing journey to kind of shed that skin, shed that costume, and step right into this creative guy mode. And it was really great, man.
Wow. What was one of the biggest shifts you realized, like after that? Like after you realized, like, oh my God, I've been putting this label on myself, but now I realize that I'm actually this other thing. Like, what was one of the biggest shifts you had after that?
Grace. Giving grace. I think I'm just going to go with what came to the top of my mind first, right? When you asked me that question, it was grace. It was giving myself more grace, giving the people around me more grace, realizing that we are, doing the best we can with what we have, but sometimes we're doing things that we're able to achieve them, but they're not sustainable. So we get this worn down feeling. And I was like, okay, I'm just witnessing that. Like we were talking about cycles earlier. And so I just started giving myself more grace and people around me more grace to be who they really needed to be without me kind of projecting who I thought they were on them. And that kind of gave this environment around me where everybody just felt also more powerful, when I didn't need them to be something. They could just be whoever they really were. Around me or around the teams or around the projects we're working on. So I think that sort of like intense grace is really palpable, man. And people feel that when you don't want something from them, when you don't need something from them, you respect them who they are, and they perform like they never performed before, and just because they know they can. It's really cool to watch.
Wow. So you use two words. You use vibration, and then you used alignment.
Yeah.
Where do those words come from, and how do they play a role in your day-to-day life? What do they mean to you?
Literally everything. That's probably one of my personal biggest journeys. But I'll just get deep, personal with you for a second. Realizing that alignment comes when you've done a lot of really deep work about who you actually are and what you're trying to achieve. And it's not about finding the meaning of life. It's not about finding who you are. It's really about just, like I said, unpacking all the shit you thought you were before, unlearning all the stuff that you've been taught before, and being open and stop thinking that you have all these conclusions and you've come to all these conclusions about things. And I just think our minds are too powerful to come to conclusions. They're meant to explore. And if they were meant to come to conclusions, right, then then what the heck are we doing all this exploration? And so, this sort of age, I think, has to do with conclusions. The more conclusions you have, the older you get, and so I want to be free and energetic and let my mind wander and question things that I've been taught along the ways, and wondering, where did I pick up this belief, and why did I pick up this belief? And so when you really do all that work, you find that this alignment is just it's unstoppable. You don't get tired. There's no friction. I learned the difference between struggle and effort, right? I've learned the difference when you have a big goal, and it used to be, I would struggle to get there because I was fighting and swimming upstream for it, and from it and towards it. And I realized there's just a really big difference between struggle and effort. And when you're in alignment, you have to put in a lot of effort to do big things, but it's no longer a struggle, And so that alignment thing is just so, that's why it just elevates. It just like an exponential, like turbo gas on everything that you're working on when you're perfectly aligned with yourself and what you're working on and who you're working on with.
Ooh, let me ask
I know,
you,
man.
When did you know you had the ability to take really deep concepts and understandings and translate them into a language that the average person could understand?
I don't know if I've realized that yet. That's interesting. I don't know if I've actually had that realization, to be honest with you. I'll think about that actually a little bit. I think that that's kind of goes back to that thing. And when you just know something, you just know it.
It's simple, right?
It's very simple. There's not a lot of construction that has to happen to form your thoughts, right? There's vibrationally, when you're just in the flow, you're just in the flow, and you don't actually have to architect things like you used to, or put together concepts to make them make sense. Things just start making sense a little bit more, because for me, seeing things as they're connected with more than just what you're looking at, I try and solve problems through the lens of other things. We get so focused and narrowed down to this thing, and really that removes all of your power. That removes all of your creativity, that removes all of your flexibility, that you need to figure big things out, or challenging things out, or deep things out, or how you feel about love. All those things, like, those are very, very complicated things, and they get more complicated the more narrow you think about them. So I've kind of let things, the lines blur, between concepts a little bit, and be comfortable with that. And recognize that I don't have to have the answers, but I have to know who I am. And when I know who I am, and the people around me are who they are, then you can just see lots of stuff really clearly. And I'm glad to hear that maybe things come out clear out of my mouth sometimes, but it's not intentional, nor is it a thing I've really realized, I guess. But I'm going to think about that a little bit now you pointed that out.
Yeah, I think that's why you amassed such a large following, because I came across you on TikTok, and I always called myself a translator, and I've always been able to take things that seem complicated and just translate it into very simple to understand concepts. And I think you do that very well. Is one of the reasons why I followed you in the beginning. And even people that have stitched your videos, they all would start off by saying, hey, go watch the rest of this guy's video. He breaks it down exactly like it needs to be broke down. And so I love that. Now, I got a question for you. What you mentioned freedom as being, you want to be free. What does that mean for you? How does that look like? What does that look like in your world?
Yeah, man. So first of all, I served this country as a Marine, and I'm proud of the word freedom is also charged in different ways at some points of my life, to be honest with you. But what I've realized is freedom is a prison for most people, as I kind of observe what's happening in society, that we're so free that people choose to be obese. We're so free that people are choosing to be depressed and broke. We're so free that people choose to be distracted and binge watch Netflix instead of doing anything productive. Like, the freedom part is beautiful, but it comes with this deep responsibility that's not taught. And so freedom for me is actually the realization that the bigger my goals, the fewer choices I actually have. And if I have really big goals, I don't have unlimited choices, man. You know, it's like if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you got to go to bed a certain time, eat a certain thing, do a certain workout, think a certain way. You don't have a lot of choices, right? That's a big goal. And so for me, freedom is just really being okay that discipline is a form of self-love, that giving boundaries to yourself is is the path to freedom. You know, making difficult choices and knowing that the most beautiful things are uphill is freedom, you know? And so for me, the freedom to be okay with wanting to put maximum effort and wanting to explore, to me, that's freedom. So that's how I view freedom now, man, is like not this like I can do what I want when I want because I'm so powerful and free. I think that's pretty weak. I actually think that
Mm.
real freedom is getting disciplined and loving yourself enough to know what you need to do in order to achieve the things that you want to achieve. To me, that's freedom.
Right. It's the freedom of choice.
Yeah, it's the freedom to eliminate the distractions, right? It's the freedom to weed through all these fake illusion of choices that you have and get to the meat of it. You know, we're free to do
Mm.
that. You know, we're not free. Freedom isn't like taking all these things that you're all these. Oh my God, you could be this, and you're so powerful. If you can put your mind to it, you can do anything. No, you freaking can't. I can't dunk a basketball, no matter
Mm.
how much I put my mind to it. You know, like freedom to break down all these little bullshit things that we've been taught, and these little containers we've been told to think in. You know, all these little like sound bites we've been given, and they're just not complete. And the most dangerous ones are ones that sound so good because they're so close, but because they're so close, they make you think you got there. Those are to me the most dangerous ones. You know what I mean? So
1000%.
yeah. So the freedom is for me is like the freedom of like just breaking free of all that shit, being very, very clear about the choices you're not going to allow yourself to make, and being great with that, and loving yourself well enough to know that's discipline.
I freaking love that. What does discipline look like to you?
Discipline to me is a muscle, actually.
Mm.
It isn't necessarily a mindset. It's thing has to get practiced. And I think the mindset obviously needs to be there, but to me, discipline is the muscle. It's the building up of evidence over time that if you keep doing this thing, you're going to get the results that you want, and the results are better than the hard work that you have to do to get there. It's worth more,
Oh, did I
you
lose you?
know. And so when the thing that you want to do, the work that you have to get
Hey,
there
Richard, can
becomes
you hear
not
me?
as big of a threat to your life as not doing it, then you're going to go through that effort, right? It's just when you have that
Hello.
shift of balance, right? And so
Hello.
the discipline to me is just the build up of that muscle, you know, of
Is that
making
on
the
my
right
end?
choice. Oh, what happened? Did I lose you?
Hello. Testing 1 2.
I got you.
There you go.
I'm here.
Yep. There you go. Okay, perfect. I hear you.
Yeah. I don't know what you said. I don't even know what I said, but I gave an answer at some point.
No, you broke that down beautifully. It's eliminating all of these distractions, and you also said a mouthful when you said the most dangerous philosophies are the ones that sound so close to being complete that people actually think they have arrived. And I want to go back to
Yeah.
something else you said earlier, is that for you it's not about coming to conclusions, it's
Mm,
about being curious.
mm-hmm.
And it kind of aligns with what you just said about these philosophies, because one philosophy that I thought about when you talked about curiosity is how many people say that curiosity killed the what? The cat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
and and I thought about that, like how much has that stopped the average person from being curious,
Oh, you
because
froze,
they
buddy.
think that curiosity is,
Yeah,
essentially a bad
Robbie,
thing.
not sure if you can hear us, but you froze for us.
Yep. He's frozen, but
Uh-oh,
he
I don't
still
know. I
looks
guess
good
I'm am I
sitting in the
losing
chair.
signal here?
He's
Or shoot.
frozen.
I'm gonna restart. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna restart.
Oh, there you go.
And then I decided to to focus 100% on GoBrunch, which is this platform here. And I started to see a lot of people using in different ways that I started to get amazed. Like, hey, I've never imagined that people would be able to use this way, like, sharing emotions and stuff like that. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know if that's
how's
on
it been
my
going
end.
for
I'm
you?
losing
I know it's
signal.
a challenge to
Well,
launch products.
it's yeah. Well,
Is
you
it me?
mentioned that you are with an AI
Weird. Yeah.
initiative, right? And technology is very difficult.
Yeah.
I would say that, in my opinion, I think the worst industry in the world at the same time, because computers and machines, they don't forgive, right? And you have to make it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
For me, in terms of GoBrunch is very different because the use cases are very unique, and it's been a little bit challenging for us to market because we have to spend a lot of time educating people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
right? And for people to
yeah.
understand what exactly it is, why should I use this, and once they understand, sometimes after 1 or 2 hours they understand, say, well, I have no idea of this potential. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
And how's your AI company going?
Yeah, we started.
No worries. Yeah, we are just chatting here. Yeah.
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 So I didn't hear your last question. Would it be better if I turn off my video to get better streaming, or should I leave it on, or what do you guys think?
Oh no, you're good. I think it's just literally my end.
Okay.
Well, you froze up again.
I'm here.
Richard, can you hear me?
Yes.
I
For
can
me,
hear you.
everything is fine.
Okay, so
Not
you
sure
hear
if.
me, Richard.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear Eric. Yes.
I can hear you, Robbie,
Huh.
and
And
Richard.
Okay,
he
so you
can
can
hear
hear me.
you. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
All right, cool. So the last question I was asking um was about how you talked about being curious.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
say a lot of people have this philosophy about how curiosity killed the cat. And I think sometimes those little philosophies keep people from being curious. It makes us come to these hardcore conclusions about things, and it makes us small minded. When curiosity opens doors, conclusions close doors. When did
Like
you become so curious? Have you always been like that?
it's so nefarious to think that there's been that saying permeated even before memes were available, right? But permeated through society as an audible meme, from teacher to kid and parent to kid and kid to kid and coach to kid. And it's just, when you really think about how sad that is, that curiosity killed the cat, actually. That's such a horrifically closed-minded thing to put onto somebody else, right?
Right.
I have naturally always been curious, but I'll tell you, there was this one time, it was actually after I sold some companies and I went golfing with a really successful guy, billionaire guy, and we're golfing. And I'd done some work for his company. He'd hired me to do some executive coaching for his team and whatnot. And I don't know, 16th or 17th hole, I was like, all right, man, a little bit about me now. I've sold some companies and I've ability to do a few things. Like, what should I do? Because I'm just telling you right now, it doesn't feel right to follow my passion and things like that. And this is a man that never cusses. He wakes up in the morning, every morning. He doesn't drink. He looks at me. He goes, fuck passion. He had this like really just stern look on his face. He's like, follow your curiosity, because curiosity gets you through the tough times. And that really kind of cemented for me my natural inclination to be curious, because it was an edification of the thought process, right? The actually curiosity. To me, even moving forward in this AI economy, as we're moving forward, Robbie, to me, curiosity is actually going to be one of the biggest currencies I think that a person can have. I actually think that curiosity is going to be like a differentiator between people in the future here. So curiosity for me is a really important thing, that your curiosity tends to uncover little pieces of the onion that nobody else was willing to uncover. And when you keep going, you become very, very powerful in a space because you have this knowledge that nobody else has been willing to search for, And so curiosity is especially when you have AI and you have all of the world's, information at your fingertips, 10 times faster than Google, your curiosity can really make you powerful very, very fast. So, yeah, man, I can't suggest enough about the power of curiosity for people.
Wow, how do you stay curious in a world that seems to be getting more and more closed-minded by the day?
Being a contrarian helps, I think naturally. So I walk around the world all day when I've come to find out how my brain works, that I look for cause and effect all the time. Cause and effect all the time. I'm in a grocery store line and I see the person in front of me interact with the cashier, and did they make him or her smile? Cool. What did they say to make him or her smile? Because I like to make people smile, right? Cause and effect all day long, right? Driving, cause and effect. Business, cause and effect. A/B testing. I give this presentation, give this result. Great. What were the dots that connected that made that result? I want that result. Let me do those again, right? So just cause and effect all day long. And you kind of develop that skill, that muscle, that kind of is a phase of curiosity, when you're just curious about what makes things happen that you want to have happen, and what makes things happen that you don't want to have happen, and how do you eliminate those and do more of these. So that just curiosity, just even at the micro level, over and over and over, is very, very powerful, because that they build on each other. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, man. I don't have the answer to that. I think that some people are just born the way they are, and I think that's great. Some people are just born the way they are, and that's great too, But if I were to suggest of a skill to develop, it's resourcefulness and curiosity. Those two things combined are pretty powerful.
I love that. I think that's why Richard and I are doing what we're doing together, because we're actually curious about other people, curious about what causes you to tick, what drives you, what are your thoughts about the future, and how do you see yourself impacting the world at large. It's just being curious. And even when you said that for you, entrepreneurship was this cloak that kind of weighed you down over time, this label that weighed you down over time, but you realize through Tony Robbins you're actually an artist. Like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I even started off, I used to rap before I owned 3 tech companies. I did rap music, and I realized back then when I stopped doing it, like, hold up, I'm not a rapper. I'm just, I have things that I want to say, and rap was the way that I said it. And now it's technology, or now it's a podcast, or now it's social media. I love that. That takes the weight of the world off of people's shoulders.
It really does. Well, what's cool, man, like little things like that, like music, we share that in common. Like I wrote a song, and published on iTunes, it's all over the place, and I just got a check from Apple the other day, right? It's like, I think that when you're creative, stuff just starts coming out, and you shouldn't like stuff it down. Like I write poetry now, right? I'm a Marine that's, fought MMA and boxed and everything else, and I write poetry and read songs and stuff, right? Like that's power. That's power. When you don't step in your own way because you don't think you need to be a certain way. And then this stuff comes out, and when that's authentic, people will just gravitate towards it, because it's not contrived. And this is the thing about social media that I did not like, is that there was this force kind of pressing on content creators to be commoditized, commoditize yourself. Like all this advice to content creators about, finding out what your audience wants to hear and deliver that over and over and over. I'm like, that sounds like hell to me. Like monetizing a small piece of yourself, and then, lobbying it up there for likes and clicks. And then how do you feel about yourself if you don't get the likes and clicks? But it's not your fault. It's the algorithms. It's not a reflection of your value. It's just the algorithm.
Or the quality of your content.
Yeah. And but when you're packaging it because you want somebody else to like it, that's a soul-sucking endeavor. But if you take the path of like a Rick Rubin, where, he gives advice to his people he's working with in music and his projects, that it's an art. Like the best way to perform art is you make the most beautiful thing for yourself. And when you make the most beautiful thing for yourself, that's the most beautiful thing for somebody else.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
it's such a different view on content, that the content has to come from you, for you, be with you. And that's not an ego thing. It's not a selfish thing to build it for you. That means that you love it so much that other people will
Yes.
see it and love it too. Right.
Man,
Yeah.
I teach people how to grow on social media. That's a passion that I have. That passion was built out of seeing so many people just get trapped
Oh
in
man, the
these
passion was
lives
built and
that
then
they
you
don't
cut
love
out. I
anymore. And I'm
lost you
like,
again.
Yeah.
you know that thing you do where
Oh, there
you
you are.
bake?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you
You're
know
back.
that thing. Yeah, so like I teach people how to like leverage social media, and a lot of times they tell me what other teachers have told them about leveraging social media, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Just live your life, and whatever is on your mind today, if you feel so called to share it, share that, because now social media is not going to feel like a job to you. It's going to feel like art. It's going to feel like an expression of yourself. And so I love that you said that, because a
Yeah.
lot of the content that I consumed from you over the years, uh, it was about different things. I mean, one day you would be walking and you would be talking about the power of the mind. The next thing you would be talking about entrepreneurship as you're driving or whatever. And that's what I love. I love organic social media content that is not that is not about what the algorithm wants. It's about what you want, what your soul
Yeah.
wants. And then I'm just sharing it because that's an expression of who I am.
I actually
So
got on TikTok originally during COVID because my daughter was on TikTok, and I love to meet my kids where they are. Like I love to go into their worlds and meet them where they are and be there with them, right? And my daughter was on TikTok, and I wasn't, and it's like, okay, set me up an account. And at the time, TikTok was a lot of trends and dances and stuff like that. In during COVID, especially. At least that's what I was seeing, right, through my daughter's lens. And so I thought it would be so fun to do a TikTok, channel with her, but kind of prove a point that you don't have to follow trends and do dances to be meaningful on a platform, and have value for people. And so it was just a fun exploration. I was just challenging myself that if I were to say something, on a social platform, especially that my kids are on, can I do it in a way that, like, maybe not now it matters, but if they see this content in 5 years or 10 years from now, that it means something to them, that there was a lesson in there that they could use that content for. So just so you know, behind the scenes, that's what my content was. It was just me sharing that. I thought, what, one day this might serve my kids in some way. And if I think it serves my kids, then I bet it's going to serve somebody else right now. So that's why I was posting in the way I was posting. It was just a very organic and sort of loving thing that I was trying to do, and I didn't need it to get likes and clicks or to sell a product. And so I think that's what resonated with people, honestly.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So before you go, Eric, tell us about Whoozy and what your plans are to assist the real estate industry with your new technology.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. This to me is also, if I'm just super open here with you, because I am anyways, but I'll tell you, this business is an expression of to find out if I really am who I think I am. Right. And I wanted to do something to see what I could do and what I was personally capable of if I got completely out of my own way. If I didn't have any limiting beliefs, if I really tried to shed any, sort of like imposter syndrome, if I don't drink at all, not even socially, if I, limited distractions like social media, like I said, if I am more disciplined, if I get more systems, if I'm more aligned, what could I really do? So that's honestly what Whoozy sprung from, was an expression of, like, we have this crazy economy. The real estate industry is going through a whole bunch of weirdness. One of my kids just started college, and she was like, well, what should I study? I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you to study right now. The world's going to be pretty crazy in the next 5 years. So that's what this project was. And then as I started going down the path, we started building tools. I was going to support just entrepreneurs in general. I love entrepreneurship. I love small businesses. That's the backbone of this freaking country, man. When people have the ability to make a wage for themselves in some way, that gives you power, and that gives you options. And when you have options, man, then the world, in terms of being able to take care of yourself, options, that's what I mean by options. That's really powerful. We're not
Right.
reliant on a single paycheck, right? So I was going down that path, and I took an investor on Normally I've always funded my own projects, but I decided this one's going to be big. I'm going to do an investor. I took my first investor. As soon as I got that wire, I realized that I would not be a good steward of their investment if I didn't focus in an industry that I knew better than 99.9% of the people on the planet in the real estate space. So I focused completely in the real estate space, and we started building towards that. And the passion, honestly, wasn't around serving the real estate agent community or the mortgage community. But to me, I was reminded what it's like to buy your first house, right? Or to have your first kid and you need to get the bigger home, and how important that is to your family. Or you move because you got to be closer to your elderly parents, or you get a job and you have to move across. Like, those real life circumstances that are around home buying and selling are so amazingly emotional and impactful in a family or an individual's life. So I fell in love with that story and serving them. But instead of serving them directly, I want to serve the real estate agent community, because they're the sales force that's already, ingrained with the home buyer and seller. So I really wanted to make the experience of home ownership and home buying and selling a more beautiful, transparent, and stress-free experience for the home buyer and seller. Whereas happen to be serving the real estate agent community, because they're the ones that have the experience and expertise that can do it with my AI systems, right? So I don't want to replace people. I want to literally make them irreplaceable. I want to make them gain mind share and market share. The good ones, the ones that really care deeply about their clients. We were going to serve them and arm them like an Iron Man suit. You know what I mean? Like Tony Stark. He can't be a superhero until he puts on that suit, right? He's a billionaire. He's smart. He's a genius, but he's a whole nother level when he puts the suit on. So for me, I want to build that suit, that Whoosy suit for the real estate professional that just makes them untouchable, man. Streamlines. We're making their workflows much faster, their productivity, their speed to lead, speed to response, speed to execution is just up 40%. So that's what we want to do. We really want to take the great people in this industry, make them irreplaceable, and just get them to just grab as big a piece of the market share as they possibly can. That's my goal.
Wow, that is powerful. And is your software available to the market right now, to the public?
We've been launching in beta. Yeah, man. We just launched this really cool tool, man, that allows either homeowners or agents to literally just go into the home. They just take photos inside and outside of the home. That's all they have to do. Upload them to our new listing tool in Whoosy, and Whoosy sorts them, sizes them, reads them all, and then creates a staging plan of everything that needs to be done in the home: landscaping, painting, furniture rearrangement, everything to get maximum price for the house. Creates the full marketing plan for that specific home, that specific home seller. Creates the pricing, literally everything by just taking some photos, right? So we're really making the business much more professional and much more deeper with the information they get the client with tools like this. Because agents don't generally do that kind of depth of research, but they can do it in just a few minutes now with AI systems. So that's why we're building it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
That just launched yesterday. Actually, I just demoed it for the first time yesterday to a group, and it just blew their minds, And so we're building out tools like that are interfacing between the agent and the consumer that really help the consumer make a better decision. They feel more empowered, If we can do that, then the relationship with the agent improves, So we really want to make the agents be a superhero to the sellers. And we really want the sellers to feel like I can't do anything else but hire this person again. They're amazing. They're referable now for life. And that's what we want to do, is make them referable for life.
Man, that's amazing. Give a shout out to where the audience can go to check out Whoosy.
Oh, dude. So you're catching me a little premature. I've got nothing. Everything that we've done so far has been behind the scenes, kind of in person, like on purpose, to build up a little bit of mystique. But you can absolutely, like, we're on Instagram at Whoosy.ai. You can start going there. We'll start creating more content. You go to Whoosy.ai. The people can actually email me personally. I'm very approachable, like Eric@Whoosy.ai. Send me an email if you have a question, and I'll get right back to you. And those would be the two places. But our public website, our official launch, is happening in 60 days, man. And we're just gearing up. I've hired 6 people this month. I'm just gearing up for scale. So we're ready to rock and roll.
That's phenomenal, man. Congratulations on this new level of creativity that you are expressing yourself with. And man, I truly appreciate your time. Thank you for the jewels that you've dropped. And we'll be reaching out to you when this episode goes live and sharing it with you.
I appreciate you guys, man. It's great to hear from you. I really appreciate you reaching out and being a part of what you got going on here too. And one day I'd like to learn more about what you got going on too. Okay.
Absolutely. Let's do it, Eric.
All right, buddy. Take care, you guys.
All
I
right.
hope, Richard, good luck with everything. And thanks for having me on, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. Yeah, please take care.
All right.
All right.
Cheers, guys. See ya.